Adonai, God, our total authority. When you think about God, does an image of a wizened old man appear in your mind's eye? Do you see the great hand stretched out to Adam as depicted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel? Or maybe you see a majestic king on his throne, scepter in hand, ready to rule the world. In Isaiah 55:8 we read, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." Anthropomorphic images of God are ubiquitous in Scripture. Note 39. These descriptions of God serve to reveal his accessibility. However, the human qualities are an inadequate means. This fact might lead us to draw inaccurate inferences about who God is. While we cannot understand completely who God is, human imagery can give us insight into how God relates to us. We can know God. We can have intimate conversations with him. However, ultimately, God is beyond a complete description. It is not surprising that we draw inaccurate conclusions about his character and personality. This error causes us to judge his decisions from an earthly perspective. And there's another error in our thinking. Because God has created us with free will, we tend to think that we are in control. The mutual existence of our free will and God's sovereignty is a paradox that seems impossible to overcome. However, the seeming inconsistency is the result of our arrogance in believing that we can know and pass judgment on his plan for the universe. The book of Isaiah can help us to grasp the concept of his authority. Note 40. Isaiah may have known God better than did any other prophet in the Old Testament. He recognized God's total authority and sovereignty without qualification. Through Isaiah, God pleaded with his people to return to their worship of him or suffer consequences. The hope of the world lay in the preservation of the line of Judah. God would do whatever necessary to bring his people back to himself. Perhaps the most difficult lesson to learn as Christians is to accept that God needs no vindication for the choices he's made for the world. God's sovereignty is absolute. Our free will is not. As we learn that we are limited in our evaluation of God and the events of the world, we're able to accept that his control is ultimate and that there is a blessing for us in any circumstance. Note 42. This may be the greatest challenge a Christian can face. It can only be overcome within the search of knowing who God is and allowing him to establish relationship with you. Are you prepared to let go of the arrogance of thinking you can avoid relationship with the one who created everything? Are you willing to spend the time and effort to hear his voice and respond to his inspiration? Can you accept his sovereignty without reservation?